Hey everyone, today we're going to be looking at how to create some amazing charts using the DronaHQ charts control. So our charts control is actually built on top of Plotly, which allows you a near infinite level of customization. So for example, we're going to be looking at how to make simple charts like this pie chart here, and then we'll look at how to combine multiple charts together. For example, I have a line plus bar graph here, which looks pretty neat. We're also going to be looking at how to make some cool charts like this Geo Bubbled Map I have here, which is interactive. I can pan across it, view the density of where my employees are located and in which region. And finally, we have this cool Sunburst chart over here, which is actually a distribution of my departments. I can see how many people are working in each department, how they are distributed, and so on and so forth. So it's going to be fun. Stay tuned and we'll create all of this together. So yes, to build the charts, we're obviously going to need some chart controls. I'm going to head over to the control section, search for charts, and drop it in my 4 columns where I want my charts. So let me quickly do that and then we'll be good to go. That's the third one. And finally, we have our 4th chart. Awesome. So we have 4 charts on my screen, which we're going to configure and play around with. So let's first build the simple pie chart, which I showed you. So I'm going to click on the top left chart, click on the properties section. Let's name it exit type because it's going to display that kind of data. I'll put it to the center and let me unhide the label so that it's visible. Awesome. So every graph has 3 sections: the data section, the layout section, and the configuration section. So configuration section is where you can play around with the spacing, margin, size, and you can choose what type of mode you want to display. For example, I can set a margin of 40 over here on the right hand side so that it's evenly spaced. And the layout is how you want to display my data. For example, I can turn off the x-axis visibility, y-axis visibility. I can choose how I want to display my legends and where I want to display it. I actually prefer the top for displaying the legends. So you can set all of that there. And the data section is of course where we're going to play around with our data, configure our data, what data to display in our graph, and so on. So obviously we need some data to display in our graph. For that, I'm going to head over to the bind data section, go to the options, and I have a bunch of stuff here, but I'm going to go to the connectors and choose my MongoDB database where I have all my data stored. So just gonna quickly configure the connector. If you want to know how to configure your own database to connector, refer to the links below. You can actually connect any database or any connector for that matter. But yes, so get exit types. Why not? Give an appropriate name and test and finish it. So now we're going to select the keys we're going to display in our data, which is the category for what type of exit is happening, either involuntary or voluntary, and the value for that exit, of course. So once you've saved it, head back over here, and now in the x-axis column, I want the x-axis to be my category. Okay, for example, sorry, I forgot to change it to pie chart over here. We want a pie chart, not a bar chart. So my labels are going to be the category, whether it's an involuntary exit or a voluntary exit, and my values are going to be, of course, my value column. How many involuntary exits have taken place, how many voluntary exits have taken place. I want a custom color, so I'll enable this and I'll choose a custom color. For example, one color I can choose it to be dark, and my next color I can actually choose a custom color I have saved in my clipboard. So for example, yeah, I'll choose this theme color. I have yellow theme going on. So awesome, one yellowish theme and one dark color, and we're good to go. Do I need to change anything else on my property? No, I don't think so. Let me preview it. And amazing, we've already set up a simple pie chart, which is good to go. So let's now look at the bar plus line chart and how to configure and play around with that. So let me click on my second chart. This is going to be exit reasons, where I'm going to plot the different reasons people are quitting my organization. So put an appropriate label, center it and unhide it so that it becomes clear. And let's again bind data first. So as usual, I'm going to go to my connectors, select my MongoDB connector and get exit reason, give a good name for the connector. I'll just keep it the same, get reasons, and test and finish it. So now select what type of keys you want to display in the chart. So I'm going to display all the possible reasons: career growth, culture, discipline, involuntary exits, and whatnot, because we're going to be plotting everything in this graph to show you the full capabilities of it. So select everything and just click on save. Wait for it to save your data. You should get the formula saved successfully pop up below. Awesome. Now we'll head back to the properties section and we're going to play around here. So chart type is bar chart. Yes. My x-axis column is actually my month because I want to display the month in the x-axis. And here in the y-axis column, rather than selecting one, we can select how many ever options we have. So I want to plot everything. So let me select everything as my y-axis column except my month, because my month is my x-axis column and I don't want to replot that in the y-axis. So I'm just clicking on all options here so that it gets selected. I'm not going to choose my month, but pay, performance, personal reasons, and voluntary exits. So yes, I have selected all of these, and customization for each of these options will open up below. As we can see, we have customization options for each of them. So quickly select whatever you want. I'm gonna quickly just set the name to something appropriate. So yes, I set my name as career growth, and then I'll change the aggregation to none because I don't want it. Type, I'm good with bar chart, and color, I can actually set my custom color so that it matches my theme. So similarly, we have to do it for all the rows you see here, which I'm quickly gonna do. So I just finished setting everything up. I've changed the name of all columns. I've kept two columns as line chart, my voluntary exits and involuntary exits, and I've kept a color which matches and goes well with the theme. Let's preview our changes to see if all went well. And yep, you can see it's loaded well and my graph looks nice and awesome. It looks a bit different from the original one because I haven't enabled the stacked bar mode. So let me quickly go back and enable that. So if I enable these stacked bars and if I set the margin as same, then we should be good to go. Stacked bar means they'll be on one on top of the other, so they'll occupy less space. And awesome, everything looks good. I can change the legend position if I want to, but other than that, it looks awesome and we're good to go. So that was it for the simple graphs. Let's now see how to build graphs using Plotly. So the UI form or the simple mode will work for most of the use cases, but in case you want advanced customizations, then Plotly is the go-to method. So there is actually docs for Plotly which shows you all the type of charts you can build: basic charts, statistical charts, scientific charts, whatnot. So you can go through this. I'll link in the description below. Any chart shown here you can build in our platform. So today we're going to build two maps or two charts. One is the bubble map, which is sort of a map with geolocation data where I'm going to show my employee location distribution. And the next is a sunburst chart, which you can see here. Here I'm planning to show the department distribution under marketing department, what are my sub departments and how many people are there in each department, and so on and so forth. So let me head back to my console or my studio. I already have the labels set up and I have added data to both of them in the form of connectors. For my department distribution, I have added a department count of how many people are there in each department. And for my employee location, similarly, I've added a connector for the number of people in each location. So let's see how to proceed ahead. I am going to go to my data and layout, and we need the Plotly JSON over here and here, so in the layout and data, and we're going to add some code over here. So I already have some code ready, which I'm just going to copy paste, but this is not code I've written by myself. It's just what I've taken from the Plotly docs and I've modified it a little bit. So for example, bubble map code, you can see here that this code under the data needs to go in the data section, and the code under the layout needs to go under the layout section. Again, this is not required normally, but in case you want advanced customization, let me head over to the code and show you some of the fields. For example, type scattered geo shows the type of map, and locations, I am not using static locations, I am using dynamic locations of what I've actually connected from my MongoDB. For example, here you can see I've inserted the location column, and if I head back, I can insert my custom location column by putting it in double quotes and double braces. So any custom column you want to add, you put it inside quotes and you add double braces to enclose the column name you want. So that's pretty much it. For the size of each bubble, rather than static size, I am setting the size of each bubble as the number of people in that particular location. So for example, I have a lot of people coming from San Francisco, then the bubble of San Francisco will automatically be bigger because the size of it is set to the number of people in San Francisco. So on and so forth, I can accordingly get my dynamic bubble sizes. Color I can set in a range from 1 to 50 because I've set here the color minimum and color maximum is 50, and I've chosen a color scale which is available in their docs. So 1 would be the darkest color, 50 would be the lightest color. You can customize it as per you want, and that's pretty much it for the data section. If we go to the layout section, let me again quickly copy paste the layout code I have, and I'll explain some of the fields in the layout code. So I copy it and I paste it. So again, I need the layout custom code because it's all normal properties just by default. But here I'm adding this geo property, which is not available by default. So I want show land to be true. I want it to show the land. I want to set my custom land color, my country with subunit colors, country color, and so on, for which I need this custom layout code. If you don't want these customizations, you don't need to do this. You will be good to go with the UI form. But to get the exact look I prefer, I chose to play around with the Plotly JSON and add some custom configurations. So if we now take a look at it, we should be having a good geo map location. So as you can see, we have a dynamic map ready. I can, as shown earlier, pan across it, zoom in, zoom out, and see all my locations and the employees within it. Awesome. So let's quickly also set the department distribution. So again, as shown earlier, we need to just play around with the Plotly JSON code for both the data and the layout. I have my code ready, which I'm going to copy paste. This looks like a lot of code, but don't get intimidated. It's just static data for the most part. So let me head over to the Sunburst chart graphs and show you what they have done. So they've added a labels here, which indicates the name that is to be displayed in each of the unit or sub column or whatever you want to call it. And then they have a parents column for the parents of each subunit. For example, the rugby union parent over here would be this purple rugby. This rugby's parent would be football, and this particular football's parent would be Australia, and so on and so forth. If you just set the labels, you set the parents, and then you also need to set the value for each parent, which is exactly what I've done. So I've set all the labels which I want to display. I have then set the parents of each label. You can, of course, as shown earlier, all this can be connected to your database. You don't need to type it out statically as shown earlier. And value for each of the label, which I have used my MongoDB connection. So here I have the value connected via MongoDB, and I have inserted that in my data over here. And that is pretty much it. So for layout also, I have a Plotly JSON code, which let me quickly copy paste. This is also not at all required, but I did it because I want a custom color. I don't want a default color. So for example, you can see I've added a sunburst colorway property with 3 colors to match my theme. If I kept it in the UI form standard format, then I would have had the default colors red, green, blue, which wouldn't have matched with the whole yellowish theme I have going on here. So hence I chose this Plotly JSON way, and I've added a custom color using the sunburst colorway field, and I'm good to go. Again, if you see in the docs, they will have it mentioned here. They have a field mentioned in the layouts, which is where I figured it out and I changed it. So you can get everything by referring the docs, and whatever is mentioned in the Plotly graphing library, you can easily implement it in our platform, and we should be good to go. If I preview it now, I can see that both graphs are working and both my custom graphs too are working, and I can interact it with however I want. So you can see I have 10 senior developers, 15 programming interns, 1 CTO, and I can pan across it to see all my other departments information. And awesome. So I hope you learned something new out of this video. I'm looking forward to see what you create and trying out our platform. Thank you and have a nice day.